Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So now we have another edition of the Lord of the Rings representation and diversity agenda, because we now have an unlisted video which I saw posted on Twitter that is from Amazon Prime Video UK, and it has apparently Lord of the Rings superfans reviewing the Rings of Power official teaser trailer. Now it's very interesting because what they are is a bunch of diverse group of people, and all they're talking about is what they thought about this trailer and what they think they're going to get from the series. Let's just take a look at what they say. I think we know what their number one issues are. No further ado, let's go ahead and look at this video that is unlisted on YouTube.
We're introduced to the first black elf. We're introduced to the first female dwarf.
Introduced to the first black elf, okay. As I've shown before, there's no real basis for having black elves in the show, but for representation and diversity. And also he says the first female dwarf. Well, actually technically not, because I've shown in a previous video, the first female dwarf that they're claiming is the first for Lord of the Rings movies is actually not the first, because there were female dwarves in the Hobbit movie, in Unexpected Journey in the beginning. And you can go check that out. I might put it here for you. And you can have a look at that evidence where there are actually female dwarves in the Hobbit.
Now, diversity, especially on screen as an actor, means a lot to me, because growing up I hardly had that. You know, watching TV and watching a lot of films and stuff, never saw people of my colour. So it's exciting to see that, you know, diversity is being explored in the Rings of Power. So
because I don't look like anyone who's been on screen, this now is diversity for me, because it's having a black... You don't look like the black character who they've just introduced. You don't look like him. I'm going to say you look more Middle Eastern than Ishmael Cruz Cordova, who looks darker than you. So you still don't look like him. So it's not representation for you. Even though Tolkien's world has representation within races, because it has elves, men, dwarves, hobbits, wizards. So you've got how many different races of beings in Tolkien's world, compared to here's a race of elves, but let's make it a black elf to represent diversity in current day society. That's completely different to diversity in Tolkien's world. And I've done previous videos on this, breaking this down, and you can check out my article in the description below of why this is ridiculous. But let's continue and see what else they have to say.
Also want to say representative, because we're getting like more diversity within this series. Like we're seeing our first black elf, we're seeing the first female dwarf, and I'm very looking forward to like looking at that.
So they're just taking their talking points. So we got the first black elf, you got the first female dwarf, which I've proven is not true. So they're still using these talking points based on diversity and representation that just aren't true. It's just not true, because there were female dwarves in the Hobbit movie. And this is all it is now. Diversity and representation, because I can see myself on the screen. That's literally what this other guy said, because I couldn't grow up and see myself on the screen. Well, tell you what, the people who they've cast do not look like you.
Young kids are going to see that on screen, and it's just going to be really nice for them to be like, oh, hey, there's someone that looks just like me.
Yeah, young kids are going to grow up watching the TV show, and then they're like, oh, I'm interested in reading the books. What do the books say? Oh, why did they change the books completely from what the show I watched? This is nothing like the source material. And you know why it's not? Because as I previously said, Amazon doesn't have the rights to the source material of the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales, the two ages that they're trying to base this story off, the first and second age. No, they've only got rights to Lord of the Rings and its appendices and The Hobbit. And that just briefly covers the timeline of the first and second ages. It doesn't detail everything that happened. So they've just bought the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they're making this show on the first and second ages when they have basically no framework to do it on. And why are they doing it? So they can put diversity and representation, and so people like this, super fans like these guys, can get first access to the show, watch the first few episodes, then sit down on a review for Amazon Prime UK and talk about how diverse the series is. Even though Tolkien's world was already diverse, but it doesn't count because they didn't look like them. Well, you know what? Go make your own thing. Don't walk into and co-opt franchise or something, some world like a fantasy world genre that has been created decades ago, and insert your identity politics to push your agenda, because it fits with current day narratives. The world was already built and set and had diversity. Just because it wasn't your kind of diversity that you want doesn't mean that you can come in and just destroy it to make your own story, which is basically what the showrunners said they were doing. They said, the showrunners of this show said, we want to create the novel that Tolkien never wrote. So what the hell does that mean? They're going to condense the story over thousands of years and condense it and just make all these new characters in this show for diversity and representation, like for these people, and just absolutely destroy the story. When characters that are in it never existed, like these new diversity characters, this black elf and this black dwarf. And then also these characters have relationships with other characters that never existed, also breaking the law. And then they're going to put characters who never existed in that time period, which also breaks the law. So Amazon, you've done a great job. These are the people that they're pandered to and that they wanted to watch their show. And these are the people that are happy to see diversity and representation when there was already diversity and representation in Tolkien's world.
It's going to be inspiring, right, for the next generation.
Definitely.
Yeah, the next generation, they're going to pick up the books and go, this isn't what the books say. So why would they make it? They've given me something to watch on the screen. And I'm like, okay, cool, representation. I see myself in that character. Okay, I'm going to read the book now because I'm inspired to read the book because of this show. And that character doesn't exist. You read the book and you go, well, none of this exists. Why would I care about it? Why would I care about the book now? Because the show tells me this is what it's supposed to be. And then they go pick up the book and they say, well, there's nothing in it for me. Now you've told them there's no representation because they've seen it on the screen. And now they go, well, the book doesn't have it, so I'm not going to read it. Or they read the book and they say, Amazon changed the whole story and created those characters just for their show. And it has nothing to do with the book that I'm now reading.
In the original film series, which I absolutely adored, but there are not many women in it, and the three women who are in it never speak to one another.
One's a woman, a human female, who has one of the most powerful, strong female scenes in history, in cinematic history, I am no man, and then thrusts her sword into the face of the Witch King, killing him. No one had an issue with that. I was fine. I saw that when I was, 2003? When I was 12, I saw that. I was like, that's fucking awesome. I am no man, and she destroyed him. No one had an issue with that. Oh, but because the female characters didn't speak to each other, there's an issue.
I wasn't represented, either my disability or my queerness wasn't represented. It just makes me so happy. It makes my heart warm.
So because her disability wasn't represented or her queerness wasn't represented in Lord of the Rings, now she can identify with it. This is all it's about. It's, can I identify with it because of my issues or my personality traits or whatever it is? It's not about, hey, what does the story say? Can we adapt it properly to the screen and show faithfully what the book says? No, it's how can I project my identity onto this character and see myself in them? And now how they're doing it? Oh, because my skin color looks like that person's skin color, that means I can identify with it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you can't see beyond someone's character apart from their skin color and identify with them apart from their skin color, not from their traits and how they carry themselves and how they interact with people, if you can't do that, you are very shallow. And honestly, a deep lore fantasy like Lord of the Rings is not for you.
The Rings of Power is the reason why the four of us are sitting here today.
Yeah, I wonder why, because you got early access to the show.
Hopefully we'll see the Rings of Power being forged.
Yes.
You'd want to hope so. It's called the Rings of Power. So this is what Amazon gives them. Look, there's the Prime logo in there. This is the creator screening. Look at this,
incredible.
the castle.
And
Amazing. I felt like I really got to step into another world.
Okay, yeah, of course they're going to shill for this. And it's on Amazon UK's YouTube channel, but it's unlisted. Why would it be unlisted?
I feel like we're gonna see some early ruminations of the Rings of Power being forged, because during the Second Age, this is where Sauron comes in and he's like, yo, I'm gonna teach
He's
you
like,
some-
yo,
I'm gonna teach
I'm
you-
gonna make a ring right now. Do you think we're gonna see another side of Sauron?
Yes.
Maybe he falls in love.
I
Maybe
mean,
there's a reason. Every villain's a hero in his own
I
story,
think
right?
we're going to find out more.
people are gonna fall in love with him and be like, I can change him.
Oh my god. This is what Lord of the Rings has turned into now. This is what Tolkien's work has become. Fan fiction for these people.
There's always romance amongst the elves, and it's like, you can't be with him.
Wow.
Why not? He's my ex.
romances, always.
I saw there's a human and an elf in a forbidden romance kind of thing, and during this period, humans and elves weren't really getting along.
I've spoken about that, and there were 3 unions of the Eldar and the Edain, the elves and men. So if they make this union another one, then that's another law break.
Right, I need a reason to tell everyone watching why they should watch the teaser trailer.
Galadriel.
Yeah, this new Galadriel, who's a commander of the armies of the North, except what I've shown before, in the books, it says she did not partake in the war against Morgoth in the North because it was not sanctioned by the Valar.
If you're a lore buff like me, I think it'll be really interesting to see this kind of expansive look at Middle-earth.
A lore buff. You just said this was the first female dwarf coming into the movies. You're a lore buff. This guy is a lore buff. Jesus Christ.
If you just have a moment to just be a kid again and be in wonder and in awe. Just take that moment. I think we all need it.
Yes, nostalgia bait. Good job, nostalgia bait. Just hey, look at what the land looks like. Look at what the landscape looks like. The art style. It looks all like Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? Because we have the artist who did all the art for Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. It looks like it is, but it's in name only. So we're gonna drag you in with the scenery and the feels and the member berries, and then we're gonna stab a knife through your heart or your back, either one. Probably both, and then take everything you love and destroy it. That's where we're at. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this video out there, and I'll see you in the next one.